In 2023, Italy, Europe's frontline for migration, saw over 157,000 migrants arrive by sea. The tiny island of Lampedusa, with just 6,000 residents, was buckling, its reception centre built for 400 people at times crammed with over 7,000. The government was spending a staggering €1.7 billion a year on reception costs alone. It was a crisis that seemed impossible to control. Now, picture 2024. Sea arrivals plummeted significantly. We're talking about a drop from 157,651 arrivals in 2023 to just 66,317 in 2024, a change so drastic it has the rest of Europe watching. So, how did they do it? The answer lies in a controversial three-pillar playbook that has rewritten the rules of European migration. Today, we lift the lid on Italy's blueprint for stopping migration and ask the question everyone is asking. Did Italy actually solve its immigration crisis? Or did they just move it somewhere else? The first pillar of Italy's strategy was bold and simple. Stop the boats before they ever set sail. Don't wait for migrants to reach Italian soil. Make other countries do Italy's border enforcement for them, hundreds of miles away. First, Tunisia. Italy was the main driver behind a controversial EU deal that provides financial support to Tunisia in exchange for cracking down on migrant departures. This wasn't just about money. The Tunisian National Guard began intercepting boats, denying port access and, according to reports, pushing migrants back into the desert. Essentially, Tunisia became Europe's offshore border guard, doing the dirty work that EU law wouldn't allow European forces to do directly. Then there's the Libya connection. Italy deepened its long-standing and criticised partnership with the Libyan Coast Guard. In January 2023, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni visited Libya, signing a major gas deal and promising to provide the Coast Guard with 5 fully equipped boats. The results were immediate. Thousands were intercepted and returned to a country the UN itself considers unsafe, a place where migrants face abuse and torture in detention camps. But Italy's most shocking move was yet to come. In November 2023, Meloni announced a deal that would make even the most hardened immigration hawks do a double-take. Italy would build and run 2 migration centres on Albanian soil. The plan is audacious. Asylum seekers rescued at sea by Italian state vessels, not by NGOs, would be transferred to these centres in Albania, which operate under Italian jurisdiction. With a capacity to hold 3,000 people and process up to 36,000 asylum claims a year, it's a massive offshore operation. The price tag? A staggering €670 million over 5 years, with some estimates suggesting it could exceed €1 billion. Host. However, the plan immediately hit a legal wall. In October 2024, the very first asylum seekers sent to Albania were ordered back to Italy by a court in Rome, which found their detention unlawful. This legal battle highlights the fundamental question: can Italy legally detain people in a non-EU country while guaranteeing their EU rights? The courts, for now, are signalling no. Italy's second strategy was to make the journey and the rescue as costly as possible for everyone involved. The government, through decrees led by Interior Minister Matteo Piantedosi, unleashed rules that turned saving lives into a logistical and financial nightmare for humanitarian organisations. The new rules are harsh. First, the distant port policy. If an NGO ship rescued a boat off Sicily, it was no longer allowed to disembark people at the nearest port. Instead, it would be ordered to sail hundreds of miles north, sometimes to ports like Ravenna or Ancona, burning through days of travel and tens of thousands of euros in fuel. Second, the one rescue per trip rule. This provision effectively forbids NGOs from conducting multiple rescues, forcing them to head to port immediately after one operation, even if other distress calls are nearby. Ignoring these orders results in crippling fines, ship seizures, and even criminal investigations. The government's stance hardened even in the face of tragedy. On February 26, 2023, a wooden boat smashed into rocks near Cutro, Calabria, killing at least 94 people. Instead of re-evaluating its rescue policies, the government responded with the Cutro Decree. This new law didn't make rescuing easier, it made punishment harsher. It introduced prison sentences of up to 30 years for smugglers, slashed humanitarian protections for migrants, and extended the maximum time migrants can be held in detention centres to 18 months. Human rights groups like Amnesty International have argued these policies violate international maritime law and the fundamental duty to rescue those in distress. Italy's own constitutional court, however, recently upheld the legality of detaining NGO ships, stating the rules were not disproportionate, a decision that further emboldens the government's strategy. Now, here's where the strategy gets genuinely creative. While slamming the door on irregular migration, Italy simultaneously opened legal channels and opened them wide. Through a program called the Decreto Flussi, Flows Decree, the government authorized a record number of work permits for non-EU nationals in 2025. The logic is brutally simple. Why pay a smuggler thousands of dollars for a deadly journey across the Mediterranean when you can get a legitimate visa and a plane ticket? These aren't high-skilled tech jobs. The quotas are dominated by sectors like agriculture, construction, tourism, and domestic care, the essential, backbreaking roles that Italy's aging population struggles to fill. In this way, Italy is attempting to collapse the smuggler's business model by outcompeting it, legally filling the very labour gaps that fuel irregular migration. But here lies the Achilles heel of the entire strategy: deportations. While Italy can block boats and issue work permits, its ability to repatriate those who arrive irregularly and are denied asylum is almost non-existent. In the first half of 2024, Italy carried out just over 2,200 repatriations while seeing over 66,000 new arrivals. That's a deportation rate of only a small percentage. For every 100 people who arrive, fewer than 4 are sent home. The rest often disappear into the underground economy or remain in detention limbo. Without effective removals, the threat of deportation is a bluff, a high-stakes game of chicken where migrants know the odds are in their favour. So, did it work? If you look purely at the numbers, the answer is a qualified yes. A nearly 60% drop in sea arrivals in a single year is a staggering statistic. Politically, Giorgia Meloni's government can claim a major victory, delivering on a key promise to its voters. But this success comes at an enormous cost. The Albania deal alone is projected at over 670 million euros. Add the deals with Tunisia and Libya, the increased costs for detention, and the legal battles, and the total bill runs well over €1 billion annually. And then there is the moral and legal cost. Critics argue Italy is not preventing deaths, but simply preventing rescues. By externalizing its borders to countries with horrific human rights records and criminalizing the NGOs that save lives, Italy is accused of abandoning its humanitarian obligations. The legal challenges are mounting, from Italian courts blocking transfers to Albania to the European Commission being asked to investigate whether these policies breach EU law. Italy's approach has also created a ripple effect across Europe. The copycat effect is real. Italy has proven that a country can rapidly reduce irregular migration if it's willing to pay the financial, legal, and reputational price. So, has Italy solved its immigration crisis? No. Solved implies a permanent, humane, and legally sound resolution. What Italy has done is create a powerful, expensive, and legally precarious system of management. It has mitigated the crisis, not eliminated it. The blueprint is now clear for any nation that wants to follow it. Externalize your borders, criminalize rescue, and legalize the labor you need. 2024 numbers prove this formula can work, at least in the short term, but it leaves us with uncomfortable questions. Is this a model Europe should copy, or a moral line it shouldn't cross? Where do we draw the line between effective border control and our fundamental humanitarian duty? And most importantly, what would you do?